Right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all so much for taking the time to join us today. My name is Mark Bolger. I'm the Agent Care Specialist here at Pinnacle Financial for the life, final expense, annuities, and long-term care. Here's all my contact information and my email address. You can certainly feel free to give me a call or shoot me an email if you guys have any questions. And today, today's presentation is going to, be getting you ready to be life ready this AEP, which means being able to offer final expense. Kind of goes hand in hand with AEP. Obviously, you can't talk about the final expense during a Medicare Advantage appointment. However, it's a great way to follow back up with your client, go back and visit them, maybe deliver their Medicare Advantage policy, and then start talking about final expense or life insurance. So there's plenty of ways that you can be life ready this AEP, and we're going to talk about some of those instances here as we go through the presentation. So just a little bit about Pinnacle for those of you who are new to Pinnacle or may have just recently contracted with us. We are a national FMO, national brokerage. We're licensed to sell in all 50 states. We are located right outside of Philadelphia, up in Warminster, Pennsylvania. And besides, the final expense and the Medicare, we also do, like fully underwritten life products like universal life, IULs, which are the indexed universal life, single premium life. We do fixed index and immediate annuities, traditional whole life, which is a little bit more outside of the final expense, term life, long-term care, obviously Medicare, hospital indemnity, and dental plans as well. So our website, most of you are familiar with it. If not, it is pfsinsurance.com. Obviously, it's available 24/7. And basically, our website's kind of like the central hub to everything that you'll need, whether it's accessing e-apps, running quotes, getting discounted CEs or discounted E&O, keeping up to date with all the current life, annuity, Medicare, and LTC news. And basically, any marketing materials, any lead programs, everything's going to be available on our website. We'll kind of go through it a little bit with the quoting part, but there's basically we do a whole webinar just on our website. So lots of great resources to check out on there. And we also do have a Pinnacle mobile quoting app that you can download for free, whether you're an Android user, you can get it on the Google Play Store, or if you're an iPhone user, you can get it on the App Store. And all you have to do is just type in Pinnacle quoting. You'll see our logo just like this, and it's absolutely free for you to download. You can actually run Medicare Advantage, Med Sup, hospital indemnity, final expense, and dental plans all on this mobile quoting app. So definitely take advantage of that. If you have any agents, or if you're looking to expand your hierarchy, if you want to get some agents contracted, you can always send them our pfsinsurance.com/spot. This is our spot sign link. Takes them just a couple minutes. They can do it all right online, no paperwork that they have to fill out, and they can apply for multiple carriers at once. It saves all their information in there. So once they're in the system, you can always add carriers. So you might be set up with like 5-6 different carriers. If you see one on there, like if you're running final expense quotes and you realize, that's a great price for my client, but I'm not set up with that company, all you can do is reach out to us, let us know what company that is, and we'll send out the link and get you contracted within a few days there. So, all right, so that's just a little bit about Pinnacle. So those of you who have never sold final expense, we're just going to kind of explain a little bit about what these final expense plans are. Those of you who have sold them before, you are familiar that these are non-medical. They're just simplified issue or guaranteed issue. So the simplified issue is just going to mean a couple yes/no health questions, and we'll go over those in a few slides in a few minutes here. And then the guaranteed issue, these are no health questions. Your clients are automatically accepted regardless of their health. So as long as they're between ages 50 and 80, they can get up to $25,000 of a guaranteed issue plan. So basically the final expense, what they are, they're small whole life plans, meaning that they have small death benefits. They're going to range from as little as $1,000 to $50,000 death benefit. these death benefits are never going to decrease and the premiums are never going to increase. So if your client is 65 years old and you quote them at, $55 a month for $10,000, they will be paying $55 a month for the rest of their life. Okay, it's never going to increase, and like I said, the death benefit's never subject to decrease. These are level premiums. They're going to last all the way to age 121. Okay, as I mentioned, these are non-medical underwriting. Obviously, the guaranteed issue, there's no health questions. Your clients are automatically accepted. However, we want to try and get them into the best possible plan. So we know if our clients like currently have major health issues such as cancer or multiple health issues that they're dealing with, we know that they're probably not going to be able to pass the underwriting, so we would go for the guaranteed issue in that case. However, the simplified issue, that's going to be our best plan that we could get the client into, and that's going to require them to answer like no to all of the health questions. Okay, so the simplified issue plan, that's an immediate first day coverage. Your client, God forbid if they were to pass away, a day or two from now, their beneficiaries would get the full death benefit. Okay, and that's going to depend on those answers to the health questions if they qualify for that. Like I said, we'll go over those in a few minutes. The graded modified is something kind of a little bit in between the simplified issue and the guaranteed issue. These are for clients that may not be in the best of health. They may not be able to answer no to all of the health questions. They might answer maybe like let's say one or two health questions as a yes. And with the graded modified plans, we have a ton of different companies that we can use, but a lot of times they're just going to have a limited death benefit for the first 2 years, similar to a guaranteed issue, except it's not just going to pay return of premium plus 10% interest. Usually with the graded modified plans, they can pay out maybe like 30% of the death benefit if death occurs in that first year, sometimes like 70% of the death benefit if it occurs in that second year. So it is a little bit better than having to go the guaranteed issue route, and obviously like the rates are going to be a little bit better than having to go that guaranteed issue route. So we'll go over some quotes in a little bit, and we'll just show you guys the differences between the different level plans and the rates, so you guys will have an idea of what those look like. And these final expense plans, they're designed for seniors, so they realize that they're going to have health issues like diabetes or high blood pressure or high cholesterol. Oftentimes we can get a client that has diabetes, we can get them an immediate simplified issue plan at the preferred rating, believe it or not. These carriers have become very, very lenient with a lot of, common health issues that seniors may or may not have. And with that being said, these are going to include accelerated death benefit riders, usually for no cost. It's automatically included. What that means is if your client becomes critically, chronically, or terminally ill during the life of the policy, they can accelerate a portion of that death benefit. So let's say it's a $20,000 death benefit that your client has. They come down with a critical illness. Maybe they had like a heart attack or a stroke, and they need some money to help pay for some medical bills. So with that $20,000 plan that they have, they could take out up to 50% to use for critical or chronic illness. If it's a terminal illness, they can take out usually a little bit more than that. But essentially, it's a lump sum of, let's say, $10,000 that they'd pay out to your client, help them, with any household bills or medical bills, anything that would help them, get through whatever condition they're going through at the moment. So again, those are going to be included for no additional cost, all automatically built into the policies. And then another type of rider that you'll see is the accidental death benefit rider. Typically, those are an extra couple dollars to add that in there, but essentially it's going to double the indemnity. So, if your client has a $20,000 final expense plan, they pass away due to an accident, that it's going to actually pay out $40,000. So it's going to double that death benefit. So sometimes that might be worth it. Again, with the cost being, just an extra couple dollars to add those on there. And then lastly, these, since they're small whole life policies, they're permanent policies, designed to last the client's entire life. So they are going to build up cash value that the clients can use to, they can borrow from the cash value, take out a policy loan, or even if they want to surrender the policy, there's certain options to do that. They can get the cash value that is left over in that policy instead of just surrendering it and not having anything to show for it essentially. Okay, so that's just a little bit about the final expense. And I want to talk about some of the top carriers that we have for final expense. We probably have a good 15 to 20 final expense carriers. We try and kind of condense those into our preferred carriers that we like to use. And that's mainly because, good commissions, they're easy to do business with. They have a great product, whether it's, very lenient on underwriting, or they might have some extra built-in features that some other plans may have. So this is why we've kind of narrowed it down to these handful of carriers in here. So for the simplified issue, meaning the immediate death benefit, your clients are covered from day one. Our top carriers are the Aetna, CVS, Ascendo. Final expense, it's very lenient with the underwriting. Same with Aflac's final expense. This is pretty new. It just came out probably about 2 years ago. Very similar to the Ascendo product with Aetna, CVS. It's literally like the same health questions and stuff. Sometimes Aflac might be a little bit cheaper, or vice versa with Aetna, CVS, Ascendo. Mutual of Omaha is very well-known final expense company. They've been in the business for well over 100 years. They're very, very popular. And the reason why we included them in here is because they are very easy to work with. And usually you'll see that Mutual of Omaha has some of the cheapest rates. They may not be as lenient on the underwriting as Aflac and Ascendo are, but they're very good with their rates and, again, very well known. And then lastly, we have Americo and their Eagle Series final expense. The reason why I included this in here is because this product actually includes an accidental death benefit rider for no cost. It's actually built in, as well as that accelerated death benefit rider. So you don't have to add those in. If you ever quote Americo's Eagle Series final expense, you can know that that accidental death benefit is actually built into that policy. Graded modified, we have our Aetna, CVS, Ascendo as well, same with Aflac, and then we have GTL's Heritage graded final expense. This is a great plan because what they'll do is they actually pay out 50% of the death benefit if death occurs in the second year. So that's a nice, modified type of final expense plan. And then lastly, the guaranteed issues. These are no health questions. Your clients are automatically accepted. We actually had a few of the guaranteed issue companies kind of pull out of the market in the last few years. So we used to have like 4 or 5 different options, but now we're really just down to 2 with AIG Corebridge. Their guaranteed issue final expense, very popular. Most of you are pretty much all set up to sell that. They have some excellent products in their portfolio. And then lastly, Gerber Life with their final expense. They have a guaranteed issue for seniors ages 50 to 80 that can go up to $25,000. Same thing with AIG Corebridge final expense. Okay. So a lot of times, if you've never sold final expense before, sometimes your first question is, well, geez, what type of coverage is my client going to qualify for? I have no idea where to start. So these are some health questions that I've taken from just one of the carriers' applications, and these are very similar across the board with each company. So I figured that these are excellent to use as an example. Please feel free to screenshot these. There's 3 different types of health questions that we'll be going through, and it's going to let you know if your client would qualify for the guaranteed issue plan, or if it would be a graded modified, or hopefully they could get that preferred immediate simplified issue plan. So this first page here, these are just some underwriting health questions, and I'll try and make it a little bit bigger here. But if your client answers yes to any of these questions here, they're not going to qualify for a graded modified or even a simplified issue plan. They would have to do the guaranteed issue plan, mainly because these questions here you'll see are pretty major health issues here. So just to go over these, question part A, it's asking, does your client currently receive kidney dialysis or require oxygen use, or have they received or been told that they need an organ transplant, or have they been diagnosed as having a terminal illness? Okay, so pretty serious stuff there. If they answer yes to this, they cannot continue. Guaranteed issue plan is the best one to go with. Next, they want to know if the client requires assistance, feeding, bathing, dressing, toileting, taking their own medication, or are they confined to a hospital, nursing home, mental facility, hospice, or do they require any sort of home health nursing care? Okay. Question C, has a client ever tested positive for the AIDS virus or been diagnosed or treated or recommended for treatment for the AIDS virus? Okay, yes or no. And then in the past 12 months or 1 year, other than for temporary or minor conditions, has the client been hospitalized 2 or more times? So if they do answer yes to that, unfortunately, guaranteed issue is going to be the best that they can go with at this time. Question D, Part 2, other than preventative, maintenance, or risk-lowering medications prescribed, has your client been treated for or diagnosed with any type of cancer other than basal cell skin cancer, heart attack, stroke, or had heart surgery, including angioplasty, again, within the last 12 months or 1 year? And then lastly, have they used any illegal drugs, been treated for, or advised to have treatment for drug abuse? Okay. So again, these are going to be pretty much across the board. So if your client would answer yes to any of these, then you know that the best they can do is that guaranteed issue plan. Okay. So part 2 of 3. Now, if your client answers yes to any of these questions, the best that they could do is the graded modified plan. So really they're asking Part B, in the last 2 years, has your client been diagnosed, treated for, or currently under treatment for any of these following conditions, including Alzheimer's disease, dementia, any form of cancer other than basal cell skin cancer, brain tumor, heart circulatory disorder, stroke, they had any sort of surgery on their heart, including any heart disorder, including angioplasty or circulatory disorder, except for varicose veins. Sickle cell anemia or kidney disease, including if they're currently on dialysis or nephropathy, or if they currently have liver disease, and that includes both hepatitis B and C. Part F, lung disease, except for controlled mild asthma that's not requiring any hospitalization in the past 2 years. So a lot of times if it's maybe emphysema or uncontrolled COPD, they'd have to answer yes to that. Part G, ALS, which is Lou Gehrig's disease, or any neurological disorders, including neuropathy, excluding controlled seizure disorder with no seizures in the past 2 years. Have they been advised by a medical professional to have any tests, surgery, treatment, or further medical evaluation that have not been performed, or do you have any medical test results pending? So a lot of times I'll get clients or agents that call, say, my client has a surgery that's scheduled 4 months from today. Is it okay to get them into coverage? A lot of times, depending on what that type of surgery is, if it's like an outpatient surgery, like if maybe something with their arm, or if they had like a sprained ankle or something like that, that's not going to be a big deal. But if it's anything that's like that's part of the brain, circulatory system, digestive system, or anything like that, they would have to answer yes to that. Have they excessively used, been treated for, or been advised to have treatment for alcohol or drug abuse? Again, just in the past 2 years. And then lastly, they're looking back 10 years. In the last 10 years, has the client been convicted of a felony or currently have any pending charges for a felony, or are they currently on parole from a felony conviction? So that question can kind of come out of nowhere sometimes, because a lot of times you're looking at your client for their health and may not realize that, oh, you know what, they had a felony that was within 10 years, and I've seen a couple of these get declined because of that. So just be sure you're asking those questions. Again, if they answer yes to any of these, then the graded modified plan, that's going to be the best option for them, or really the only option. And then lastly, we have our part 3 of 3. So this is going to determine if they can get that immediate coverage, and it's going to be either at the preferred or the standard rating. So both preferred and standard rating are both immediate coverage. They're covered from day one. It's just the price is a little bit cheaper for preferred versus the standard. So the last part here, just asking the past 2 years, if your client been diagnosed, treated for, or currently under treatment for schizophrenia or bipolar disorder, diabetes requiring insulin treatment, systemic lupus, have they been convicted of operating a vehicle while intoxicated, or had their driver's license suspended or revoked, Again, just in the last 2 years. If this happened 3 years ago, that's okay. They can answer no. If they're under age 65 and they're or are you currently disabled or been disabled in the last 6 months, or at any time during the last 6 months received any disability compensation, or been mentally or physically unable to complete 30 hours per week of active employment. So sometimes I've had some people that are, let's say in their 50s, 40s sometimes, and they're looking for final expense insurance. One of the things I always ask is, are they receiving disability, like from the government? Are they on SSI? Because that's one of the things that would knock them out from being preferred versus standard. Okay. And then lastly, do you now participate in, or do you have plans to participate in any hazardous sport or aviation? Yes or no? So if your client answers yes to any of these questions, they can get the standard rate. Again, still immediate, but it's just a little bit more expensive. If they answer no to all of these, then they would qualify for the preferred rating. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how to quote these on the Pinnacle website. Remember, it's pfsinsurance.com. Most of you are familiar with this, so I'll show you the differences between those simplified, graded, modified, and the guaranteed issue plans. So right from pfsinsurance.com, I simply go over to quoting, and I can choose final expense. And this is our quick quoting software that you can use. Again, even if you download the app, you can also run these final expense quotes on the Pinnacle mobile quoting app as well. So I'm going to click Get Quotes now, and I'll show you guys in here. Let's say if I had a 65-year-old male, non-tobacco in Pennsylvania, I can choose the death benefit. Let's say he wants to go for $15,000. And then plan type, it's going to default to level, which means our immediate death benefit plan. Remember, they answer no, or they might answer one yes to get the preferred or standard. That's what you're going to see below here. So I'm going to click Submit. And as you can see, we got our AFLAC, we got our Mutual of Omaha, some of those companies that we talked about earlier, CVS Health, very, very competitively priced. They're all like within $1 or so of each other. But if you look over on the right-hand side, you'll see if the underwriting status, if it's like a preferred or if it's a standard rating. Usually the top ones you see here are going to be preferred. So if you see the company in here listed twice, like if I go to the bottom, I'll see CVS Health again, and I know that that's their standard rating. So again, just a little bit more expensive, but the clients are covered from day one. What's nice with this too is you can click on little PDF next to the carrier name. You can get like a height and weight chart and just some product information. You get a little bit of an underwriting guide. Talks about certain health conditions and if they would qualify for an immediate plan, if it would be declined, or if it would be standard, graded, modified. All that good stuff is all in here. And here's America as well. This is the one that includes that accidental death benefit rider. So really from here, if you're not signed up with any final expense companies and you go ahead and you run a quote and you say, oh, you know what, I really like Transamerica, or I really want to go with this AFLAC plan, all you have to do is just reach out to us. If you're already in our system, we just simply push out the contracting link for you for whatever company you want to get set up with. And you're going to receive an email usually within 24 hours for you to complete that link through our online contracting service. And then after that, it should just take a couple days for your writing number to come through, depending on what state that you're in. But usually we can get you up and running within just a few days with the final expense. Another thing with the final expense too is most of these carriers require you to go to their websites to submit business. We have a few carriers like Transamerica and Mutual of Omaha that you can do through the Pinnacle website, but most of these other carriers is going to require you to log into their website portal. So for instance, I'll go over to AFLAC real quick, just kind of show you. If you have the AFLAC contract, you would have your writing number. If you want that contract, we would send that out for you. You get a welcome email within a couple days. That'll have your agent code and instructions on how you can log into the website here. So let's just use AFLAC again as an example. And it's very, very simple when we go over to their website or any of the other carriers' websites. But I simply just come in here, I do quote and enroll. And this is going to take me right over to the Aflac e-app. And just bear with it for a second here. Okay, we can put in our client's zip code, their date of birth, and the effective date. We usually want to do any date that's within 30 days from now. So we'll just do tomorrow is the effective date. And let's say this is a female client, non-tobacco. We click View Products. And you'll see the final expenses right here. We just click on that plus sign. I can put in the death benefit amount, say $10,000. Go ahead and click Quote. And I can see my preferred, my standard, and my modified quotes. So again, we always want to try and go for the best one that we can. If your client can't qualify for it, they'll obviously tell you that. But another good thing too is, like, let's say if your client does answer all the yes no health questions as no, technically they would qualify in your head as with a preferred plan. The way that all the carriers do this, how they determine the eligibility is they run a live MIB prescription history check, and as long as the answers jive with the client's prescription history, that will verify if they get that preferred, standard, or modified. So like for instance, if we choose preferred with our client, let's say they answer no to all the health questions, maybe there was something in there where they were taking a medication over a year ago or something. So like if it does come back, if there is an issue in the underwriting, Aflac isn't necessarily just going to decline the app. They might say, hey, your client doesn't qualify for our preferred rating, but they absolutely qualify for our standard rating. So they'll also say, would you want to lower the death benefits so that the standard matches what we quoted them on preferred, or do you just want to keep it as is? Totally fine. We can do either or. But yeah, just to kind of keep that in mind, this will kind of fact check everything as you go through. Now, what's nice too is by the time you get to the end of the e-app and you submit it, you will get an instant underwriting decision. So if, God forbid, if your client does get declined, you'll know right away, and at that point you can switch over to maybe a guaranteed issue plan at that point. So now we have full webinars that we've done on all of these products, like Aflac, like Mutual of Omaha, things like that. We do have those available on our Pinnacle website if you ever want to go in and watch some of those webinars, or just go back and watch any of our other final expense webinars. You can check those out under Services and Webinars, and you can literally just type in, you can click on the webinar recordings, you can type in final expense, or really anything that you're looking for. These are all the different types of webinars that we've done in the past, and a lot of these are product specific, so for a specific carrier and things like that. Okay. And again, I mentioned if you do want to request a contract, or if you're new to Pinnacle and you want to get contract just on board with us, you can go to our website, pfsinsurance.com. You can simply just click on the contracting tab, which is over in the far right corner, and you can click contract now, or you can request a contract if you're already in our system. So we'll get an email. We'll go ahead and push that out for you, and then within a couple hours you'll receive an email link for you to do the contracting, and you will be all set from there. So let me just check if we have any questions. I got somebody asking, Kevin Roberts, how do we find out commission levels? So great question. The commissions are going to vary depending on the carrier, but I can kind of go through these ones here just to give you guys an idea. So if your clients go with the simplified issue, final expense is going to pay out the most. And typically these carriers are around the 115%. If you do have like proof of production, like typically if you have like at least 100,000 of issued annualized premium that you wrote in the previous year, like 2023, you can give us a call and we can talk about higher commission levels, because you just would have to qualify with the carrier's production requirements. But yeah, like I said, pretty much all of these are going to be in like that 110% to 115 range, and that's 115% of the annual premium. Kind of going back to the quotes here, as you could see, these it's very easy to get like a $1,000 annual premium for these. So these can pay out pretty well. So let's just go back and do an example here. So 65-year-old male, say if he's going for 15,000, we're almost at $1,000. You got about 932 for the annual premium, and if this is 115%, you get 115% of that 932. So these pay out very well. And obviously, again, like I was saying, the simplified issue, that's going to pay the highest, roughly around that 115 level. The graded modified, they're going to give you a little bit less. It could be anywhere between like 90 and 105%, depending on the carrier. And then lastly, the guaranteed issue, these are going to pay like anywhere between 60 and 80%. So that's another reason too to try and get your client into the best type of plan. And again, some ways that you can do that. I've actually attached 2 handouts to this webinar where you guys can download this. But I have a simple life insurance fact finder. You can download this. You can, if you talk to your clients over the phone, you can gather some information about them, and you can simply email this fact finder back to us here at Pinnacle, and we'll go through and say, hey, based on your client's age and see if they have any of these health conditions here. We'll come back and say, hey, these are the top 3 plans for your client based on their health issues. So let's say if they select no health issues here, we'll come back and say, hey, here's the top 3 companies based on price. Maybe if they do have a health issue like diabetes or COPD, we'll get you those simplified issue carriers that will write them for preferred or standard immediate benefit, and not give you any of the carriers that would actually rate them for diabetes, because there still are a few immediate issue carriers out there that will offer graded modified for diabetes. So more and more of them though are becoming less lax on that. So we'll keep that for you guys up to date. But definitely download these. Also, I've attached 100+ step-by-step scripts for selling final expense over the phone. Just kind of goes through some, how to contact the client initially, how to handle any objections, maybe re-engaging with some hard-to-contact leads, how to qualify the prospect right over the phone, just by literally by asking them a couple of these health questions on the one-page fact finder. And explaining the benefits. How does a final expense policy work? Are you covered from day one, or is it going to be limited death benefit for the first 2 years? And then also some tips on following up with any leads that you have in the pipeline. Maybe some people that are still on the fence, waiting to hear back from you, or still got to talk it over with the rest of their family. All the excuses we've heard in the past. So this offers a lot of great tips and has some sample scripts, if you've never done this before, and just has some helpful tidbits for you. So definitely download that. And let's see here. And okay, so that looks like it's it. Just kind of wanted to keep this short and sweet for you guys. Again, you can always reach out to myself or Greg Yotis here. He's also Director of Sales for the Life, Final Expense, Annuity, and Long-Term Care. Please feel free to reach out to myself or Greg if you're working on a case, or maybe you have somebody that's a little bit on the fence. Maybe it's their health, and you're not sure which direction to go. Give us a call. We'd love to discuss the case and offer you our suggestions for which plan might be the best for them. Even if it's just regular life insurance that they're looking for instead of final expense. You might have some clients that are in good health but still over 65 that might want some term insurance, or some universal life coverage, or even annuities or long-term care. We also do that stuff, and we can certainly help guide you and your clients into the best fitting plan. So please feel free to reach out to myself or Greg. We're here for you guys. We wish you a great, wonderful, and successful AEP, and look forward to hearing from you all. So thanks so much. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll talk to you soon.